I remember at the time I felt really uneasy about that, but I followed the advice because they're healthcare professionals, right? So you think
they know what's best.
They know what's best. Yeah. So let me go on the pill, which is a big fat lie.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
That's not true. If the doctors tell you that, it's actually not true. So then I got sent off into the world. I remember I just got into my car and just cried after that appointment because I was like, what is this thing that I have? And like, I don't have any answers, but it sounds really scary and now I don't know what to do. I think that's what's keeping people's hair dry.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's my theory.
You are worthy. Your crown is your glory. Love me like I love.
Hey beautiful, welcome back to the Kiya Convos podcast, the space for all things self-care, wellness and empowerment. I'm your host, Kay Amwa, and today I have the absolutely gorgeous Abbie Curls.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming down. Your hair looks amazing.
Thank you.
I hope that the camera is like giving you justice because the curls are popping, the health is healthing, the length is lengthening.
Yes, all of the things. Yeah, this is a braid out, half up, half down. I think that's my favorite style. So,
I love it. I love it so much.
Thank you.
I'm really looking forward to today's conversation. But to start it off, I always like to kick off with just asking you to take us back, let us know a bit about you and your journey prior to, all the things that you're doing now.
Oh gosh. Okay. Where do we go back to? So hi everyone. I'm Abbie. Currently I am a content creator primarily in the natural hair space. But I do a little bit of travel here and there and I do a little bit of women's health, which I'm sure we'll get into today.
Yes.
But prior to that, what was I doing? I went to uni and definitely have not used that degree since the day I graduated.
What did you study?
I did criminology and psychology.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But I kind of just went to uni because I didn't really know what else to do. It was just like the path that everyone goes down. So I was just like, okay, cool, let me get to uni. So I went to uni, really enjoyed uni. But if I went back, I probably wouldn't do that again.
Oh, wow. Okay. What would you do instead?
I think I would just go straight into what I was doing now.
Okay.
Like just early, I would have, if I could, I would have started what I'm doing now earlier.
Okay.
Without having gone to uni.
Do you think,
no regrets, but yeah.
Do you think that would have made a difference to how you showed up or?
I think getting in early is key in what I'm doing right now. Like if I started about 2 years ago, I don't think I'll be where I am now.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I feel very blessed and lucky to have started when I started. But I think if I started maybe 2 years earlier, then obviously I'll be even further ahead. And especially because I've not used my degree. So it's just like,
it's just there.
I've now got a whole load of debt for no reason. Then I was working part-time at an office. And it was in the year that I graduated that I started my social media channels.
Okay.
And then it kind of just grew quite quickly and started getting attention, started getting followers, started getting attention from brands. So then at first I never really had a real goal or a real I wasn't really doing it with intention. I didn't ever think it was going to be my full-time job.
Okay.
It just kind of worked out. And then when brands started approaching me, I was like, okay, this could actually be a thing.
Yeah.
Let me put some work into this. And then it's kind of just grown into what it is now. And now it's my full-time job.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much. So bringing it back slightly, what made you first decide to start showing up online and what did you do initially?
Yeah. So I personally have gone through a hair journey. I used to perm my hair. Then when I stopped perming my hair, I would still blow dry and straighten it every single time I washed my hair. So I was the typical heat damaged girly with the afro roots and the straight rat tail ends. So then I used people that I seen online. I used their tips to recover from heat damage.
Okay, yeah.
I never big chopped. I just gradually transitioned out of that. So then I was like, okay, I've been through this journey. I'm seeing all these girls in the US post all this really cool hair content.
Yeah.
So let me post it myself. And this was when I was working in an office with Beulah, which I know you've spoken to on this podcast already.
Yes, I have.
We used to work together back in the day. And this was around the time when she was posting her cartoons on the Cream and Crack Rehab.
Okay.
And we were talking about it and she was just like, yeah, just start a page. Why not? Kind of thing. So she definitely pushed me to start my page, but I was really shy and really scared to put myself out there. It just felt so scary. But I'm very glad I did it. So yeah, I started posting my journey at first. This was back when Instagram was only photos.
Oh, okay.
So I was just posting maybe one photo a week, maybe two of the different hairstyles that I was doing
Okay, yeah.
on my hair. And then, yeah, as Instagram grew and had videos and all this kind of stuff, and I started posting videos and yeah, I just adapted to all the changes on the social media sites, and yeah, that's that. Really.
So sticking with the hair side, how did you find that journey, you know, growing the page? How did it affect how you saw your hair? Did it make it a bit more of a chore, or did you still enjoy the journey of learning and growing out your hair?
That's a good question. It kind of links to the saying of do something you love and you'll never work a day in your life, or if you love something, then, you know, turn it into work or something like that. So I definitely think making my hair my job has in a way taken a little bit of enjoyment out of the process of just like loving my hair.
Yeah.
But also I think it's just from the fact that it's like I feel like every time I wash my hair, it's not really for me, it's for work and for putting out content.
Yeah, yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like it's really accelerated the process of me learning my hair.
Okay.
And knowing what my hair does and doesn't like, and getting my hair to like a healthy place, because I'm constantly trying new things so that I can then share that with other people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like it's sped up the process of my hair journey. And I still do absolutely love like learning my hair and trying new things and all that kind of stuff. But I think it being a job takes a little bit of enjoyment away from it. But I think that's the case for most things.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. What's been the most exciting part of your hair influencer journey?
You just get really cool opportunities being in the social media space, I think. Not even necessarily just being in the hair space. I think just being in social media and being like a content creator and an influencer in general. I think the opportunities that you get are just really exciting. Like you get invited to these luxury events and are surrounded by celebrities and other massive content creators and reality stars and all this kind of stuff. And you're kind of just like, do I belong in this room? Like,
who's the most famous person you've met so far?
I met Rihanna last year.
Oh my gosh. Not bad girl, Riri.
I know. At the Fenty hair launch in Selfridges.
Oh, I love it. Did you get to speak to her?
So I didn't get a picture with her and I was so upset.
Oh, okay.
But we had like a little interaction as she passed by. So I'm clinging onto that and saying, yeah, we're besties and we met and we had this whole chat. So yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, I met you through obviously the natural hair. You've done content for us. What does that look like, your journey now? You've obviously been doing it for quite a while now. What are your plans within this space?
Ooh, this is one thing that I love about my job, is that you can kind of pivot whenever you want.
Okay, yeah.
I very much, this whole journey for me is very much being go with the flow. I've never really, I mean, I have had goals, but I've never really been like, okay, my 3-year goal is that I want X amount of followers and I want this and I want that. So in terms of the direction of where I want to go, I just like that this could go anywhere.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So I don't really have a set place that I want this to go right now. I just really enjoy the freedom. I enjoy that if I suddenly, I don't know, found a new hobby and I wanted to start sharing about that, or if I, like, it's even like the PCOS stuff, like when I felt like I had enough information for myself to share that, that's when I started sharing that. So it's like, you can really take social media wherever you want it to be.
Yeah.
And then when I started traveling, I started sharing travel content, which people really liked. So then I was like, okay, cool, let me tap into that as well. So I just feel like the possibilities are endless. And I like that you don't have to just box yourself in. You can just share whatever you want to share, and if people want to follow along, then they will.
And I think that's really good. That's really interesting, because I know a lot of people I've come across over the years that started out in the natural hair space, they kind of felt boxed in. So they felt like, well, if I'm not posting about my hair, I can't post anything. And a lot of people have actually come offline and stopped posting. So it's really good that you were able to navigate that successfully and pivot your platform.
Yeah, it is difficult. You definitely do feel boxed in when you're so niche. And like with hair, I don't know, it is quite limited. Like people always ask me, like, how do you still have stuff to post about? And sometimes I'm like, yeah, that's true. I've literally been posting about hair for 10 years. But yeah, I guess when it's something that you enjoy, it's kind of easy to share.
So talk us through what's your weekly hair routine?
Weekly hair routine. Okay. So on a typical week, it's either a braid out or a wash and go.
Okay.
I'm trying to do more braid outs this year because I'm trying to grow my hair this year, and braid outs are the key for hair growth for me. So this is a braid out. So I would wash my hair. I wash my hair about once a week.
Okay.
I always do a double cleanse. And then condition. I'm not a big deep conditioner girl. People go crazy for that. Like, I never deep condition my hair.
I mean, I'm seeing a lot more people say that now.
Yeah.
It's not like the days of deep condition overnight or...
Yeah. Oh my God. I cannot believe I used to do stuff like that. Like, leave my hair soaking wet, covered in deep conditioner to sleep. You'll never catch me doing that now. So yeah, I double cleanse and condition, and that's around once a week. And then if I'm doing a braid out, I'll braid it up. I try to leave my braids in for about 2 days because I've got really dense, low porosity hair, so it takes forever for my hair to dry.
Okay.
So I try to braid my hair up at a time when I can leave them in for a couple of days, then take them out and either rock my hair like all out or do a style like this, half up, half down. And then I literally don't touch my hair for the rest of the week until it's wash day again. I don't apply any other product. I don't apply water.
Really?
I don't do anything to my hair.
Oh, wow.
Unless I'm like slicking it up, then I'll apply like a gel or edge control to my edges.
Mm-hmm.
But to the ends and the length of my hair, I don't do any refreshes or remoisturizing throughout the week. I just leave it until
really
the next wash day.
interesting. I've never heard of that. Most people would say, you know, every day I will moisturize and seal, or every couple of days. So
I think that's what's keeping people's hair dry.
Ah, that's interesting.
That's my theory.
When did you start doing that?
In the past, I would say 1.5 years is when I've started doing that. And since I've minimized what I do to my hair is so much healthier.
Oh, wow. What made you stop remoisturizing midweek?
It just felt like a lot. It kind of coincided with when I was more particular about my cleansing and shampooing.
Okay.
Because I felt like, so I used to be one of those girls that would be co-washing, deep conditioning every wash day. All the things, thinking that, yeah, this is going to stop my hair getting dry. I'm adding in all the moisture. I'd be refreshing my hair, like wetting it down and applying or leave-in like throughout the week and stuff. But my hair was still feeling dry.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm doing all these things and my hair is still not feeling how I feel like it should be feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, cool. Let me just take a step back and kind of take it back to basics and start afresh. So then I started to shampoo my hair every single week instead of co-washing. That made an improvement. And then I was like, okay, cool. So this is a good step. And then I stopped deep conditioning and replaced that with normal conditioners. And I was like, okay, we're getting even better. And then I just gradually stopped applying product throughout the week as well. And now my hair is like better than ever. I think we're conditioned to think that our hair needs to look perfectly shiny, perfectly glossy, perfectly defined for every single day. But I just think that's an unrealistic expectation of our type of hair. Like my hair's not gonna, this is day 1, but my hair's not gonna look like this on day 5, but that's okay. And it's not supposed to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I've really never come across someone say that before. I know some people say they leave their hair alone, they keep it in protective styles, but there's always still that element of remoisturizing.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting concept. I will try it next time.
I get a lot of questions and comments about that when I talk about it, because people are like, oh, my hair is dry on day 2 or 3. But sometimes I'm like, is your hair actually dry, or is it just like not freshly washed with products freshly applied? Like you don't have to feel the product on your hair for your hair to be moisturized.
Yeah.
So I think there's some like reconditioning to do with that. Yeah.
So are you an oil girl or are you not an oil girl?
Oils don't really have a big place in my hair care routine, to be honest. Sometimes, yes, like if I'm doing a braid out, I might use like literally the tiniest pump of oil on my hands before I take down my braids. But I don't do any oil treatments. If it's anything other than a braid out, I don't really use oil in my hair now.
Oh, okay.
I'm not against it, but it just doesn't fit into my routine.
I know there was that whole big movement of don't use oils. I was like,
oils, no butters. Yeah.
Oils work for me. But I do think some people, they will say like, oh, oils don't moisturize your hair. No, they don't moisturize your hair. I think a lot of people that were using the oils incorrectly. So just applying oils to their raw, dry hair.
Yes.
and then expecting there to be moisture. It's like, no, a water-based moisturizer always first,
Yes.
and then the oil. So I think that drove a lot of people to kind of jump on the bandwagon. But I'm an oil girl.
Yeah. And I think all these natural hair rules that get thrown about, the same rule isn't going to apply to everybody.
At all. Yeah.
So it's like I'm saying I never deep condition. I know to some people that's crazy. If deep conditioning works for you, stick with that. But I know it doesn't work for me, so I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
So it's just like you need to pick and choose what you want. And like these whole movements, like don't use oils and butters, they're bad for you. And then everyone stops using oils and butters. And then all of a sudden there's another wave and it's like, no, we need oils and butters again. And it's just like, I think you need to do what's right for you and take these rules that like when they're seen online, it's like the Bible, like you need to stick by this. But you don't. I think you just need to adapt, pick and choose and adapt to your own hair and what works for you. Yeah.
I think the rules are what caused the decline of the natural hair movement. It just got really exhausting. I was like, oh my gosh.
It got really, I think initially when I first started, it was a really like uplifting, loving, positive place.
Yeah.
But then it's like all of a sudden it was like these rules, and if you were going against that, and if you were straightening your hair, and if you were relaxing your hair, it's like, oh my God, how could you do that to your natural hair? So then it became a place where it like wasn't actually so nice and uplifting, and like it wasn't such a positive place
Very
anymore.
Very
judgmental. And I was like, what's happened here? Like this is not what this is supposed to be. But I think we're coming out of that now, and it seems to be that people are kind of just doing their own thing, and everyone's like back to doing what they want to do. I'm not seeing as much judgmental stuff online anymore.
Yeah, me neither.
Which is
good.
Yeah.
Okay, so changing gears. So there's been a shift with your content online, and you've been discussing your journey with PCOS.
Yeah.
So when did you first discover that you had PCOS, and what led you to, I guess, finding that out?
So I started my periods when I was 13.
Okay.
And they've never been regular. So they were always irregular. At first, I thought it was just because I've just started my periods. So my body's going to take a little time to adjust to that being a thing. But then I think it was when I was 17, so 4 years after, my periods were still extremely irregular.
Okay.
Like I was having like one period in a year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is...
Yeah. When it was at its worst, I would have one period in an entire year, and then it might be 6 months, then it might be 9 months, then I might have 3 months where I have 3 consecutive periods, but then it will disappear again for another year.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, something's not right here. So I went to the doctors about it when I was 17, I believe. And they were kind of just like, on this first appointment, I remember they basically just sent me away with nothing. They were just like, just wait and see, like you're young, wait and see what happens. In my head, I'm thinking, what are we waiting for? Like it's literally been 4 years and I'm telling you I have one period in a year and you're saying it's normal and to go away. Yeah, no. So then my periods remained irregular. So I went back the following year, and then they said, go on the pill, which is...
They just love to do that, and it's very irritating.
The pill, like it's smarties, honestly. Yeah, so they told me to go on the pill, and I remember at the time I felt really uneasy about that, but I followed the advice because they're healthcare professionals, right? So you think
they know what's best.
So let me go on the pill. And I remember at that appointment, they told me you need to go on the pill because this is going to help your body regulate your periods, which is a big fat lie.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
That's not true. If the doctors tell you that, it's actually not true. One, because the period that you get when you're on the pill, it's not a real period.
Yeah.
It's what they call a breakthrough bleed when you're on the pill. And it's just pumping your body full of fake hormones. So if you then come off the pill, it's not going to suddenly like jumpstart your body into giving you a proper regular period. So I was on the pill for, I think, maybe a year or two. And then I came off the pill. And then my periods disappeared again.
What made you decide to come off?
I just wasn't getting along with it. It was making me feel sick. I would get palpitations with it. Okay. I just didn't want to be on it. And at that time, I wasn't using it for contraception either. So I was like, why am I taking this thing that I don't even need to like protect me from pregnancy. And that's pretty much what it's for, really. So I was like, there's no point in me being on this thing. And I wanted to know what is going on in my body as well. I think from the start, even though I was young, I was always conscious of like what is actually going on in my body.
Yeah.
So then I came off the pill, period still irregular. So I went back to the doctors. And I had to push for tests to be done. So I pushed for blood tests to be done. And I really did have to push a lot. They didn't want to give me the blood test. They just wanted me to stay on the pill, and they told me to lose weight.
Oh my gosh.
So then what happened after that? Went to the doctors. Yeah, so they did eventually give me the blood test. The blood test came back with possible signs of PCOS based on like the hormone levels and stuff. And then with those results, they then said, okay, we'll do a ultrasound scan. So that was a scan of my ovaries. And then the results of the blood test and the ultrasound scan combined confirmed that I do have PCOS. So then at that doctor's appointment, when I got diagnosed, they basically said, you've got PCOS. You might struggle to have kids.
Oh, no.
Your chances of cervical cancer are higher, and your chances of getting diabetes are quite high. Off you pop, off you go.
No way.
So I was like, great.
So they didn't offer anything to
I
deal
had
with?
questions, obviously.
Yeah.
And no answers. They gave me this A5 sheet of paper with all these scary things about what's going to happen to you if you have PCOS. And then I think there was like 5 bullet points of advice, which was go on the pill, lose weight, some other things that I can't remember, but I just remember them being really unhelpful. Yeah, so then I got sent off into the world. I remember I just got into my car and just cried after that appointment, because I was like, what is this thing that I have? And like, I don't have any answers, but it sounds really scary, and now I don't know what to do. Yeah, so that was that. And then I was trying to find out information about what to do and like how to manage this. And at first I was relying on the healthcare system for that, but I was getting nowhere. So then that's when I took matters into my own hands.
Yes.
Started doing my own research, started doing trial and error and, you know, changing my diet, doing all these different types of things. And now I have a regular period every 4 to 5 weeks, I would say. And that's all through like diet and lifestyle changes, no medication, no contraception. Yeah, basically.
So first of all, well done for advocating for yourself.
Thanks.
Because if you didn't, you would still just be, you'd still be on the pill. Yeah.
Yeah.
So well done. I think that's something I've been struggling with recently, is just how much we need to advocate for ourselves.
Yeah, you really do.
For basic things. It's insane.
I know.
And the lack of support, education around women's health is absolutely ridiculous. I spoke to Candice.
Yeah.
And you know, yeah. And just speaking to her, I was like, I did not know there was this much of a struggle within the women's health sector. It's just outrageous. So bringing it back to when you first got diagnosed with PCOS, where did you turn to for information? Because you were given a pamphlet. So
yeah,
was it just like online? Was it easy to access information at the time online about it?
No, initially I had to do so much digging. Like I would type in what is PCOS, and then it would come up with all these different things. And then I would do like the symptoms that I had and PCOS, and then see what information came up there. Like I would spend hours researching this thing. Yeah, so it wasn't easy to access information at all. And then I found there was like people that were creating content about it, but this was quite a bit later on.
Yeah.
Like initially when I first got diagnosed, there wasn't really any social media content about it or any like personal accounts of people speaking about it. It was all just online, like forums or blogs, things like that, or like health pages. So I kind of like, I took little bits of information and I thought, okay, that applies to me. So let me make this little change.
Yeah.
And see if that works. Okay, that didn't work. Now let me try something else. Let me try something else. So it's been 10 years literally of trial and error to get to the point where I feel like I've got everything under control.
Yeah.
And even now it's not fully under control, but I feel like I'm at a point where like this is probably the best I'll be in terms of my PCOS health.
So what were the initial changes that you made, and how long was it until you first started to find that you're seeing some progress?
This is the thing with PCOS, because it's related to your menstrual cycle. You need to wait a long time before figuring out whether this change that you've made has worked or not, which can be super frustrating. So like, say if you made one diet change, you kind of have to wait like 3 to 6 months of consistently having this diet change to see whether there's been any change or not.
Okay.
Because my main symptom was absent and irregular periods.
Yeah.
So that has always kind of been my base indicator as to whether a change has worked or not. So I need to make the change, let my body adjust to that change, see if I get regular periods consistently before changing to another thing.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So, like literally you can only make really like 2 to 3 changes in a year. So the process is just so long.
Yeah.
Whereas like, I don't know, if you had like a skin concern, you can try this product for maybe 2 weeks. Okay, it doesn't work. Then try it, you know?
Yeah.
So it was a very long process, but initially it's mainly been diet. So the things that so at first I came off the pill because I was like, this isn't helping. This is just masking the problem. So the first thing that I did was get off the pill. And then I just tried to eat as healthily as possible, but then I really refined my diet and I would make little changes. So I would stop eating dairy, see how that worked. And then I would stop eating meat, see how that worked. But I think the main thing that has helped me is massively reducing my sugar intake.
Oh, okay.
I think for me, that's the key. It's going to be very different for everyone because PCOS is like a really complicated syndrome and the way it manifests in different people is very different. So the way to manage it is going to be very different as well. But for me and my PCOS, I think the main contributing factor to me now having the regular period is my diet and how little sugar I consume.
Okay.
That's where I've seen the most definite change, I would say.
So with the sugar, what does that look like for you? Like on a daily basis, I guess, or weekly? Is that completely cutting out sugar, no snacks, no treats, or?
Pretty much.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So day to day, I don't have, I mean, it's really, really difficult to have absolutely no sugar in your diet. And I don't actually think that's necessarily recommended. But I don't have anything with added sugar into it.
Okay.
So I'll still have fruit, like I would still eat strawberries. That's obviously got sugar in it.
Yeah.
But because it's still considered a whole food, so it's got fiber in there and other nutrients in it as well. So I'm happy to consume that.
Yeah.
Whereas if you eat a bag of sweets, you're literally just eating sugar for the sake of eating sugar. So then you're going to have a massive blood sugar spike, which is really bad for PCOS. It's bad for anyone, but bad particularly for PCOS because women with PCOS tend to have insulin resistance. So then that massive spike in blood sugar levels is going to cause a massive spike in insulin, more so than the average person. And then the more insulin that's in your system, the more testosterone that's in your system. And then the more testosterone that's in your system, the more likely you are to have absent or irregular periods or facial hair or acne or all these other PCOS symptoms. So when I found this out, I was like, okay, cool, I need to cut out sugar. So at first I reduced it, but now I pretty much don't have any sugar. The only thing that I have is hot chocolate because that's like my weakness. I can't give it up.
It's a comfort drink.
It's my little comfort. But yeah, I try to not have it too often. But yeah, I just don't have anything with added sugar. So no fizzy drinks, no sugary snacks, nothing with added sugar, just like natural sugars.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I actually don't miss it.
I mean, when I spoke to Beulah, she said after doing the challenge, she just doesn't crave processed food. So I think your diet, your taste adapts quite, not quickly, but it does definitely adapt to what you're eating. So
for sure. And I think when you see the health benefits of it, you're like, this makes sense. Like, why would I eat sugar?
Yeah. What other lifestyle changes have you had to make to adapt?
So the main lifestyle changes that I've made have been working out.
Okay, yeah.
I would say. And I adapt my workouts to my cycle, not in a super rigid way. And I also can't do it in a rigid way anyway, because my periods, they are regular now, but they're not like I don't know when my period exactly is going to come.
Oh, okay.
But when I know that my period is approaching, I just take my workouts a little bit easier. So I'll do more yoga, mat Pilates, and like slower workouts. Yoga and mat Pilates are not easy. Don't get it twisted.
All? No.
Not easy at all. But they're just less stressful on the body, which is good for women when they're approaching their period to not do such like intense, like heavy weights or intense HIIT workouts where you're dripping with sweat and like can't breathe. So yeah, I just take it a little bit easier in the lead up. And then once my period is done, or even during my period, that's when I increase the intensity.
Oh, okay.
And when I do my heavy weights and I do my intense cardio and like all of this kind of stuff.
So are you a gym girly?
I am a gym girly.
Okay.
I go to the gym maybe like 4 to 5 times a week.
Oh, okay.
And I try.
So I've spoken to you now. There's Beulah. I spoke to someone called Christina.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, you need to get in the gym, girl, because people are really
You'll
going to
feel
the
so
gym.
Good. Honestly, it's a struggle. I go in the morning as well.
Okay.
I get.
But I
up
think
at,
that's better to just get it out the way.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how people that go to the gym in the evening do it.
At all.
If it's not first thing in the morning, it's not happening for me. So I need to just get up and go.
Mm-hmm.
So I go really early, get it out of the way, and it just sets your day up.
Yeah.
Like, I know that sounds so cliche, but it actually really does.
No, it does. It definitely does.
Because if there's a day when I skip it, I feel different.
Mm.
So once you get in that swing and you feel the effects, you'll do it.
I know.
But
I'm just like preparing myself.
Yeah. Just start by going once a week.
Yeah.
I think that's the mistake that people make. People are like, okay, cool. Abbie and Beulah are going 5 times a week, so I need to go 5 times a week. No.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. You're going to go 3 days in a row and then you're going to be like, absolutely not. You need to go like once or twice a week. That's doable. That's manageable. You're not overwhelming yourself.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, I can do this. I can increase it a little bit. You know, just ease yourself in. But yeah, it is crazy. 5 times a week is a lot. And also leading up to my period as well, I will decrease the frequency that I go to the gym, and I'll replace it with like an hour walk or something around the area where I live. What other lifestyle changes have I made? Anything that affects my hormones, basically. So I've swapped out my cleaning products for natural cleaning products.
Oh, okay.
As much as possible. I still use like some with chemicals in, just because I feel like when you're doing a deep clean on the bathroom, you really want to...
You like that smell.
Yeah. But on the most part, my cleaning products are natural because all the chemicals that we're using and stuff is crazy on our hormones. What other lifestyle changes have I made? Going to sleep and waking up at the same time every day as much as possible. Because again, that's like a hormone cycle with your circadian rhythm and all of this kind of stuff. So if you can regulate that system, then that's going to help regulate all of your other hormonal systems. So for me, as a woman with PCOS, everything that I do, like all these changes that I've made, are basically to try and regulate my hormones, to stop all these crazy like ups and downs and stuff.
Do you ever get frustrated that you have to live very intentionally? I suppose I would say, yeah. With everything, you have to kind of be mindful. So with your eating, with your working out, or is it just you've got used to the routine now?
It's I understand that when I say this, it sounds so trapped and so rigid and so strict, but as I live my life, I don't actually feel like that. I think once you get a routine and you get the discipline, it's actually quite freeing.
Okay, yeah.
Because my routine then allows me to, if I go out to dinner and I want the chocolate cake, I'm going to get the chocolate cake because my day to day is as it is. So it allows me to be a little bit more flexible. Whereas if my day to day was flexible, then I would feel horrible for one. Yeah. And then if I do have the chocolate cake, that's going to send me even deeper into like feeling bad. Yeah. So yeah, it sounds really like rigid and not fun, but I actually like it. I feel more free with a strict routine. I know that sounds so like contradictory, but
no, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Because I guess, like you mentioned, if you're doing what you need to do the day to day, you're seeing the results from it, you can almost treat yourself and feel no regrets. So yeah. And
to me, it's just always how I feel.
Yeah.
If I feel better, then it's worth it having a strict routine.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm assuming, well, I know the answer to why you decided to start sharing online, but what made you feel comfortable enough to then start sharing your PCOS journey online?
Oh, God. I don't know if I did ever feel comfortable enough. It was awkward at first, and sometimes I do still find it awkward depending on like what I'm talking about. Because if I'm talking about PCOS and I'm like, okay, yeah, change this part of your diet, do this, do that. But some of the questions that I'll get are very like TMI type questions, because obviously it's related to periods and stuff. So it's definitely been a gradual process of getting comfortable with like sharing the ins and outs of my menstrual cycle online. So yeah, I think initially I was comfortable enough to talk about the general stuff. And I did that because there was just so much lack of information for me when I was diagnosed. So I was kind of creating what I wish I had when I was diagnosed.
Yeah, sure.
Then I realized there was a real need for it. So then the more information I would share, I guess the more comfortable I got with sharing more of the nitty-gritty details and more of the TMI stuff. So I don't think I initially was like, oh yeah, I'm comfortable with just putting this out on the internet. It was definitely a gradual process. And even still now, I am a bit like, is this too much? Like, is this too much detail that I'm putting out to the world right now? Yeah.
So what's the feedback been like since you started sharing your journey online?
Mainly positive, but it's the feedback that I've got is also frustrating because it just makes me realize that my story is pretty much every woman's story, which is unfortunate that it takes years to get diagnosed for these kind of things because for whatever reason, women's health issues just don't seem to matter or be prioritized.
Yeah.
So that seems to be everyone's story. And also then when they are trying to get on top of their symptoms, again, it seems to be everyone's story that it's a struggle to get the information from healthcare professionals, or we've all been given the same advice of go on the pill. And that's literally not helping anyone. Yeah. So not saying that going on the pill, I'm not against people going on the pill for PCOS if they want to go on the pill. I always try and make that clear in my content because that would be judgmental of me to say that. My problem is the way that it's just automatically prescribed to people with PCOS and other women's health problems. That's my issue, not the actual taking of the pill. It's how it's presented as the only option to help PCOS and other women's health issues. Yeah.
So what would you recommend to someone just left the doctor's office, sitting in their car, crying, just freshly diagnosed? What would you advise them for their first step?
What would I advise them for their first step? That is a good question. What would I do if I took myself back? What would I do?
What would you tell Abbie 10 years ago?
Well, even rewinding back even further, at my first doctor's appointment before I got diagnosed, so like 3 years prior to that, I would tell her to not leave that doctor's surgery without some sort of test being done.
Okay.
Because if I got my blood test done when I was 17, within that same year, I would have got my diagnosis. So then I would have been 3 years ahead in managing my PCOS symptoms.
Yeah.
Like it was very unnecessary. That whole 3-year process was highly unnecessary. All those doctor's appointments, I just think were so unnecessary. So, but obviously when you're young and you don't have this information, then it's understandable why you're not as pushy and as assertive. So I think if you're going through the process of trying to get diagnosed, my advice would be to be a bit more assertive and make sure you're asking for what you want.
Yeah.
Do your research before going to the doctors because the healthcare professions don't seem to have the information. I remember at these appointments, they were asking me questions. I was like, I'm here for your help. And again, this isn't me like dragging down or, being negative about doctors as a whole. I don't expect them to know everything, but I think it's the healthcare systems, not the individual doctors.
Yeah.
So I would advise them to be a bit more assertive, a bit more pushy, push for tests. Don't leave that doctor's office without at least a blood test because that will really get the ball rolling on other tests that are necessary to get diagnosed with PCOS. What else? Also, the first thing I would say is look at your diet. I would say first thing you need to do is reduce the amount that your blood sugar levels are being spiked because majority, I think it's like 80% or something like that of women with PCOS have insulin resistance.
Okay.
So reducing your sugar intake is going to massively help your symptoms. So that would be the first thing that I would advise. So gradually cutting down sugar, gradually cutting down carbs to reduce your blood sugar spikes would be my first piece of advice, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And have you found any particular resources helpful on your journey? I know you said there weren't that many to begin with, but a few have popped up now. So
yeah, I mean, I have loads of books at home. I'm trying to think of the names off the top of my head. There's a lot of books around PCOS.
Yeah.
There's a couple of podcasts that I listen to about PCOS, YouTube channels. There's quite a lot of information out there now. So I think now, if you've just been diagnosed, then I think it will be not easy, but there's access to information now. So have a little look online. I do really find the podcasts and YouTube channels really interesting and really helpful, because it's like sometimes with something like PCOS, it's actually nice to get the information from someone who is not a healthcare professional and from someone who has just lived the experience, because then it's quite specific and it's not just general terms that they're using. And if you follow multiple different people, then you can see how it affects people differently, and you might relate to this person for that thing and you'll relate to that person for the other thing. So yeah, I would say use social media, because there is a lot of content about it now. Yeah,
definitely. I think it's really helpful that you started sharing online. You were one of the first people that I saw online that I actually initially came across the term. And then I was like,
oh wow.
Yeah. And then I realized, okay, I've got a couple of cousins that have PCOS and some friends, but I just didn't know it was a thing. I think sometimes if something doesn't directly affect you, you're just in a bubble almost. So I've learned a lot, obviously, of later years. But I think there needs to be a change, and it's really good that individuals like yourself are coming online and sharing information, because I think the more people that share information, share their stories, share how they had to really advocate for themselves to get a diagnosis in the first place, it will raise awareness and raise alarms and be like, okay, maybe we do need to actually take this more seriously. So I think it's really good that you're showing up online.
Thank you. Thanks. You really do need to advocate for yourself. I think with anything, to be honest, because I think with anything that you get diagnosed with, I don't think you should just take the healthcare professional's advice at face value and just follow that without doing any sort of your own research. I would always research everything, but particularly for women's health, where there is a very apparent lack of information, you have to advocate for yourself and do your own research. And it's important.
Thank you so much. I'm going to change gears again slightly. What does self-care mean to you?
Self-care. What does self-care mean to me? Self-care is kind of like packaged up as like face mask, bubble bath. But I don't know if that's really it for me. I think it kind of depends on what I feel like I need at the time.
Okay.
Because self-care to me could be like, if I've had a particularly stressful work week, it might be going out to a party and letting my hair down and doing something wild.
Ooh, she said wild. Love that for you.
Or it might be like binging Love is Blind in bed all day.
Okay.
I think it just depends on what you need at the time. So just like listening, like true self-care for me is learning how to listen to your body and your mind and think, okay, what do I need to feel better in this particular moment? So I think it's different. And just being healthy. My strict routine is my self-care routine.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So you've had a super stressful day. You've been out running to different meetings. A few things have gone wrong. You're overwhelmed. You get home. What are you doing to relax?
I'm going to make a nice, healthy dinner.
Okay. What would that look like, typically?
Probably like salmon and veg and quinoa.
Okay.
would be my go-to.
I love a salmon.
I love a salmon. I love a salmon, and there's so many different ways to cook it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, probably like salmon, veg, cooked in some sort of like Asian inspired way, probably.
Okay.
With quinoa. And then I'll treat myself to a hot chocolate. That's like my little treat. And just watch YouTube videos for the whole evening.
Okay, who are
And
your
then have an
go-to
early night
YouTube channels to watch?
I love vlogs. So anyone that does vlogs,
Okay.
really. I love travel vlogs. I love homey vlogs. I love family vlogs. I love like the behind the scenes of business vlogs.
Okay.
So yeah, anything like that. I just love watching people live their lives.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit creepy, but yeah.
No, I'm really into
enjoy it.
vlogs, and I really like boring ones.
I love boring vlogs.
Like when they're just at home.
Same. Same. Like you could literally sit and speak to the camera just like in your pajamas
Mm-hmm.
for a 30-minute vlog, and I'm locked in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the same.
I love a boring vlog. But then travel vlogs, I love when they're like here, there, and everywhere and do all that, because that's kind of what I'm like when I travel.
Yeah. You get ideas for where to go and what to see.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I watch. And I watch a lot of interviews and like stuff like this on YouTube as well.
Oh yeah, so you tune into Kiya Convos.
Tune into Kiya Convos, of course.
Love that for us. No, thank you so much. I've really enjoyed talking to you. It's been really insightful. We've had hair, we've had PCOS, we've had advocate for yourself, and we've had self-care.
Yes, love that.
If there's one final takeaway you want to leave the audience, what would that be?
One final takeaway. Ooh, in relation to PCOS?
It can be whatever.
Or just in general?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do general. One takeaway. So my mantra for 2024 last year was everything works in my favor.
Oh, I love that.
So I would, if something went right, even if it was something really small or something massive, I would say everything works in my favor. And that kind of just really reminded me to be grateful for even like the tiniest little things. And then even if something went wrong, whether small or big, I would say everything works in my favor. And then that's kind of like reassuring that, okay, this thing didn't happen, or that went in a way that you didn't want it to go, but everything works in your favor. So like, it's okay. It wasn't meant to be. Something else is better, or it was protecting you from something bad if you did go down that route.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like reassuring that everything is still as it should be. We don't need to catastrophize these little things going wrong, because everything works in my favor.
I love that.
So everything works in your favor. That's what my takeaway is.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you for
having
coming
me.
down. Thank you for sharing your
that was
journey
fun.
with us. Let everyone know where they can find you online.
Yes, you can find me online at Abbie Curls. That's ABBIE. Curls on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok.
Perfect. Oh, are you active on TikTok?
I'm trying to be.
TikTok is difficult.
I'm trying to be. Instagram is where it's at for me, but
Yeah.
I would love to be a TikTok girly.
Mm.
But how do they do it?
I don't know. It's so much content.
It's so much content. There's people posting 5 videos a day.
A day.
I
It's
don't have it in
insane.
me. Maybe
No.
I'm too old for TikTok.
I feel like I'm always like, no, this was not my generation.
Right? Yeah, I don't know. Some people are killing it though, and good
Yeah.
for them, but I just don't know if I'll ever be able to keep up.
I'm sure you will if you decide to put your mind to it.
Follow your TikTok, guys.
Yeah, so I hope you guys took something from today's episode with Abbie. If you had something that really touched your heart or a really key takeaway, let us know in the comment section below. We'd love to keep the conversation going there. If you're new to Kiya Convos, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to keep up with all of the episodes. New episodes drop every single Sunday, both here on YouTube and also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So be sure to follow us there. Other than that, take care, stay blessed, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.